Hello. So we're going to be going over the Watto's Junkyard Amidala blaster that was a very limited run, 10 pieces only produced in this first tester run that we put together. We're going to go over just some basics of the blaster, how to put it together. Um, Now, this is just for the 10. Now, there will be an upcoming more mass production where we're going to make it probably around 50 units depending on the demand, but this will give you an idea of what you're getting into if you're a part of it. So you have several little pouches, which you're going to have at least in this early run. The later version may have it a little bit differently, but you're going to have a few parts together. Here's your main body. You got a long barrel. This just twists out, so you can pull it out, and you have this is one piece. There is a seam here, but it's not a screw out. And then you have your barrel. Your barrel, you need to be aware there is a small black O-ring here. This helps you to adjust the positioning of your for your muzzle flash here. You have your handle. It's made of walnut. It has been varnished and sealed so that it is nicely protected. It is wood. It's natural wood. It's going to be unique. Each one is going to be a little bit different. There may be small imperfections in the wood, pores and things like that, all very expected from natural wood. These are all inspected prior to being shipped out, so we make sure that only good ones are sent out. So the mechanism right now the trigger mechanism is already assembled, and you can see that it provides a small amount of back and forth. That's all you need to activate the switch that's built inside. There's a little 3D printed insert. We're going to be taking that apart and show you that. Let's go through the rest of the parts. We've seen these. Don't mind my bare fingerprint making fingers. Um, we have your vented pommel. So if you choose to put a blaster core in here, non-vented pommel, and the last little baggie holds the short barrel. Because in the film you can see there are two versions. There's a big barrel and there's a short barrel. So the barrel, just like this. Again, this one also has a small O-ring, so be sure when you're taking it in or out that you don't lose that, because that's going to be very key in ensuring how you adjust it. You have a little baggie in here with some parts. You're going to have your tool. You're going to have some more O-rings, some bigger O-rings, some smaller O-rings. I'll show you what these are for. And then the switch and a spring that's used for your trigger assembly. So putting the barrels on is pretty straightforward. I mean, you already saw it before. It just twists in. You need to find where the bottom is, and then the O-ring will allow you to twist your barrel into the right position so that this is evenly spaced out of the left and the right side. Okay. And you have this little bag. You have some little 3M tape. Now there is a PDF assembly document that Watto's is putting together, which talks about all this stuff as well. But I'm going to show you what to do with it. The basic idea is once this handle is assembled, this little hook here comes in and slides forward, and that's going to lock it in place. Now, well, not lock it in place, but hold it in place. Now, this little tape here, this tape is meant to go along the front of the barrel, just as an additional securing method, if you like, to keep it from. I don't know. It's screwed down, so if you like, you can put that in there. Since this is a shelf unit for me, I don't see the need to glue those down myself. But it's pretty straightforward. The piece is going to slide on here, and then your screw is going to be a little difficult, but you can make it happen. You're going to have to get it in the hole inside. There we go. You get it in, and then you're going to have to use this little hex key to very slowly kind of twist that down to lock the handle in place. Now we're not going to do that just yet, since I'm trying to show this all to you. You have your switch. So now we can disassemble this little hook. This hook is just to grab onto the front of this piece, to hold the front of the handle on. So this will unscrew, and you'll see in here there is this O-ring. You see a few more O-rings on the table as well. This O-ring is what's helping to ensure the proper positioning so that it's tight enough but not too tight when it's connected to the barrel, because if it's not in there, it may not sit correctly. Because it's natural wood, it can change a little bit. That's why the O-ring, from one to the next, the O-ring is there to ensure that it pulls on there correctly. Like right now, this kind of fits on too loosely, so you're gonna give it a little bit of a squeeze down to compress that O-ring and get it down a little bit deeper. That's starting to get there, not quite. Just tighten it up a little bit more. And you don't have to worry about stripping the wood or anything, because we have these little wood mounts in here, so you're actually going metal to metal. Almost there. There we go. Now, when it slides on, it actually holds itself a little bit. That's what you want to get. You want it just to have a nice little amount of tension there. So real quick, we'll pull this back out. And now deep down inside, you're going to see 2 silver screws. So we're going to go down into these. And these are what holds your little printed switch box together with the trigger. So we're just getting these little screws out. Drop these on the table. 1 and 2. Oop. Now you'll see the trigger will come out. As a trigger is in like this, you'll see you got your 2 screw holes up here. Got a little hole in the back. This is where the spring goes, so it can engage to the back and push forward. And back in the handle, we can pop this little 3D printed part out. Take a look at this. It's pretty basic. You have the mount here in the back of this print for your switch. That way you can get it set up. So, I don't need to put the switch in because I'm not doing it, but it'll set all the way down into here. You need to be able to, you need to cut these 2 prongs off. There's space for it, but these 2 prongs in the back actually pass through. And then, so basically from the inside, it's going to look like this. The spring is in the back here. This is pushing up against the back of the wood and pushing it forward. And then your switch is going to be here. And so when this unit is pushed backwards, your switch, which is sitting in here like this, is going to be pushed up against the back of the wood on the inside, and the spring that'll activate the button, and the spring will push it back forward. It's kind of the mechanism of how it works. So we'll throw this together again real quick, and you'll see, as you can see, there's a small amount of movement. You don't need much. It's just enough to activate that switch. Go ahead and stick this back in. We'll make sure we get our spring in, and there is a little hole inside where the spring sits. You need to make sure you get it into that hole, which can be slightly difficult. Let's see, probably good if I get a smaller hex wrench. I can put the spring right in there. And then you can put the hex wrench in the hole, and the spring goes right into the hole. Perfect. Put in the trigger. The trigger finds its location. In goes the switch mount, and you're going to have to push either the switch mount or the switch to get the holes aligned to the bottom, and drop in your screws. They find their position pretty quickly. Just tighten it down. It is metal to metal with the screw connection, so you don't have to worry about stripping anything out, but it is aluminum on the trigger part, so you don't need to, man, getting this thing is tough. You don't need to wrench it down too tight. You're using 2 fingers to basically screw it down. Give it a little tap. Make sure that even though they're screwed in, you still have your movement. You see slight movement in there. You see the trigger movement. Make sure that that's functional, and then you're good. We're going to go back and put our front hook on. Test our connection. Still too loose. A little bit more. That should do it. Not quite. Almost. It's not getting in there, is it? I know why. I've probably over tightened it at this point. And now the butt is sitting back too far. Okay. There we go. That's going to sit in there. And put whichever end cap on that you like. After you have engaged this rear screw, don't forget that. That's going to actually hold the handle in its final position. Screw in your end cap. Now, I haven't put my screw in because I'm leaving this disassembled right now. Pull it back a little bit. Okay. So here we go. And here is basically the finished assembled version. And this is what you can expect to get. It's a very nice little, sleek little blaster pistol. I have large hands, so it looks very small, but it's made for the film was a small young woman who was holding it. So this is what you got. So thank you very much for taking a look.